You know the basic plot of the novel. A secret top policeman hires people to chase some secret terrorist organization. At the end, you learn that this secret top policeman, whom you don't see in the face, it's the same as the criminal gang chief, and they're both God. God is fighting himself and so on. I think that one has to read it in a very, often we intellectuals make a mistake, especially with Nietzsche, people make this mistake, to put too much irony, joke into it. I think the key is to read Nietzsche as a totally, in Schiller's term, not sentimental but naive. And I think it's the same with this Chesterton. I only think that at the end you get something more. The problem is not only God is devil and so on, but then where is in this imagined theology, the role of Christ suffering and so on. But I think, yes, that it's an extremely interesting novel. The proof of it is that I checked on the internet, in the bookstores, I didn't buy them, in books, texts on Chesterton, and I was shocked how people try to squeeze out, like nobody wants to take it seriously and simply to draw the conclusions from it, which are very clear. God and devil are the same. God is fighting himself. God himself, in order to be the Christian God, had to be an atheist and all that stuff and so on. Again, no wonder that it's an embarrassment. But again, if you like that novel, I would really advise you to look a little bit around. First, the theological counterpoint to that novel, which is Orthodoxy, the book, and then some of the wonderful short texts, like his reading on the book of Job, and so on and so on. First, I mean, it's not just your experience. This is the so-called hard problem of consciousness, about which you probably know it even better than me. There is maybe you know it, in my Parallax book, I have a whole long chapter on it, all possible variations. Like you have direct idealists, like David Chalmers, who advocate that the only way to account for awareness is to posit awareness as together with gravity, all elementary forces, as another elementary natural force, like gravity, electromagnetism, and so on, that you absolutely cannot reduce it to others. My problem with this is that I almost feel vindicated in my vulgar Leninism, when Lenin says how idealists always turn out to be vulgar materialists, no? He wants to save consciousness, he ends up naturalizing into just another natural force. You have one position, then you probably know the McGinn position, no? Which is that it structurally cannot be explained. Then you have again the way others are dealing with. But so yes, of course, this how to put it? Of course, this is a key question, but I think, I cannot go now into a detail, that precisely through this open ontology, where you always count with the void, with nothing, where nothing can have an existence and so on, that in this way, maybe, I don't know, I mean, if you look at the question as an empirical, scientific question, what can I say as a philosopher? Nothing. It would be the worst old-fashioned ontology, even in the Stalinist way, where you as a philosopher are supposed to be a kind of a general controller giving advices to scientists. I cannot say anything. All I'm saying that philosophically, I can see how one can open up the space for a possible explanation of consciousness, because I think that, look at the work of two philosophers, which are otherwise opposed, Badiou and Deleuze. Although they are both materialists, and there are differences between them, they both are doing something which is for me very interesting. What is the problem of Deleuze is precisely how to account for the immateriality of what he calls event and so on. And his thesis in his best books, which are for me the early ones, Difference and Repetition and Logic of Sense, before the Guattari corruption, is that not only we materialists can also explain it, but that only materialists can explain it. That every idealist explanation of consciousness sooner or later substantializes it secretly reintroduces some kind of a vulgar materialism. Simply, consciousness becomes just another substance. So, with Badiou, it's the same. The whole problem of event is precisely event, but event, it's not as stupid people accuse Badiou, miracle from event is, as he puts it somewhere, just I don't know what exact expression you use, a curvature, a twisting of in the order of being ultimately. So he's not saying out there event. Ultimately, there is nothing but being. And I found this deeply significative and optimistic, that the theories which, those theories who for me are even at a naive, intuitive level, the most convincing, closest to convincing at least, about where did thought come from and so on, are materialist theories. Of course, not that vulgar, naturalizing materialism. Of course, you cannot explain consciousness if you ask the question in these reductionist terms, what happens in my brain when I am conscious? In this way, of course, you will always find only something that happens in your brain. And then this awareness idiot will always come and say, but wait a minute, even if that happens in my... You know, it's the same paradox, which is a crucial, nice paradox of determinists. You know what's the big problem in... Chalmers has some nice descriptions in the problem theory of consciousness, is that the more they succeed in this vulgar, direct brain sciences approach, the more the problem becomes mystical, because even Dennett approaches this problem, but I don't think he solves it. You explain certain phenomenon which we do consciously, like complex thinking, as a certain automatic neuronal process. Okay, but then the question emerges, if it's all happening there as a blind process, why does it have to be conscious? You know, the better you explain it, the more superfluous consciousness becomes. So my view would have been, and there are some people who are not idiots, even Dennett in his best moment and so on, who move in this direction, that it's totally wrong to approach consciousness as perfection, in the sense of, my God, something so complex, you can do it only if you are conscious. It's the opposite. Consciousness is originally a consciousness of failure. You become conscious when something goes wrong, how should I put it? That consciousness is not this when it's too perfect. It's even empirically true, you know, that like, what if there is a thing which phenomenologically distinguishes us humans from the more or less, we can say, naively thinking animals like apes or whatever, it's not the complexity as such. It's precisely that in a way we even more are prone to some illusions. Like what I liked is a friend from Duke University, Turkish guy, wonderful brain scientist, told me that he was doing some of this boring experiment with apes and so on. And he told me that the first strange thing is that apes are, contrary to what you would expect, much more plastic, adaptable than humans. Like if you show to an ape a beautiful female partner and a bad one, but put obstacles that he cannot reach the beautiful one. He will try the ape for some time, then he will say, F off, no, and let's accept the second place, no? But with humans, we are attached. You don't drop it, no? If anything, humans are more fixated. It's not that we humans are more plastic and so on. Okay, but I'm getting lost here.
So apes know how to settle?
Sorry?
Apes learn how to settle quicker?
Sorry?
Apes learn how to settle.
Yeah. Yeah, they are this kind of a rational choice, apes and so on. We humans are crazy, and I think this goes even for the history of science. Isn't it that it's not like some vulgar materialist thing that first inventions were for real life production, then they were used for amusement. We know that the first phase of modern machineries, the court of Louis XIV, where they were building all these automats and so on. First comes the surplus. Then you say, maybe why don't we use it also for... Then Marxists come who say, but where is the development of productive forces and so on, no? And even Marx was aware of this, but let's not get lost in it.